everybody. It's Murray with CrossBreed Holsters. And standing next to me is Mark Oz Geist. Many of you may recognize Mark's name and his story. We all know the book and love the movie 13 Hours. Mark was an integral member of the U.S. annex security team that fought in the Battle of Benghazi in Libya in September 11, 2012. Thank you very much for being here, Mark. This is awesome.
Hey, it's such an honor to be here at CrossBreed. It is.
We got to spend a little bit of time on the range yesterday. That's one of those things that later we'll get into and look at some of that stuff. Any of you that don't know, this is our first brand live filming, so we'll be doing many of these from the weeks to come. We'll be talking about product, we'll be doing range time stuff, we'll be doing questions about concealed carry, just all these different topics that we want to do. So what we're going to get into now is some of the comments that we get all the time of concealed carry considerations, and there's three big ones that we've discussed in the last couple of days. What's one of those things?
Well, you know, the biggest thing is starting from the very beginning is which weapon you're going to have and the size of that weapon, because you're going concealed. You got to have it where you can hide it.
Right, and we get questions all the time of a female calls in and her husband has bought her this full size whatever flavor of gun you want, and they want to know how she can conceal that. And we have to have that discussion of, well, what size are you? Are you a 5 foot, 100-pound woman? You're probably not going to be able to conceal that pistol.
Right.
You're going to need something that you can conceal, but then also you can shoot, because that's another consideration is, can you comfortably shoot the gun? Can you function the gun? If you can't do those things, now you're the opposite of where you should be. You have to have a gun that you can conceal, that you can also function and shoot.
Well, it's important on what you're going to use that weapon for. I mean, most of us, what we're looking at is personal defense. Now, where you can have that accessible. I mean, you know, because you can buy a big gun and then your wife's going to buy a nice big purse and she's going to put it in there, but can you get to it when you need it? Because that's really important.
One of the questions we've got, we'll be doing questions the whole time we're doing this, so just keep putting the questions on the website, and we're going to answer them as we go through here, and we'll try to get as many questions as we can. One of the questions is, do we have a Glock 43 and a 19 in the holsters? You actually have a 42 on right now. We do 43s. We have a 19 holster right here in a combat cut. This is our Super Tuck holster. This is our flagship holster. This is the holster everybody knows us for, is the Super Tuck. We have also produced many other holsters that have followed this. The Super Tuck is still the staple.
You know, and this is what really got me into CrossBreed. I mean, working overseas as a contractor, a lot of what I did was carry concealed. And, you know, your flagship holster was there. I mean, the leather and everything that's on it, when it gets with your skin and the oils from your skin, and as it breaks in even more every time you use it, I mean, it just becomes a part of your body. You don't have those issues of having a weapon directly on your skin. It covers it well, and it keeps the gun where you need it and secure, even if you're running when you're running and gunning as well. And
we love to hear stories like that. And we have lots of service members, law enforcement that carry our holsters, and we love that people use that and they do it. It's not just concealed carry people; it's actually people using them every single day for their job and their livelihood. And we progressed onto that from the Super Tuck into the Mini Tuck. You know, for the smaller pistols, instead we just cut down to make it smaller. We offer, you know, both these on all the different leathers. We have our horsehide, the black cowhide, and then this is our new Founders leather, which you've got to try out the last couple of days.
Yeah, and you know, in the Founders leather, I mean, it comes in the belts as well. You know, we have both the plain leather belt and the cowhide, and then we have horsehide, and then we also have the black. But as you see, I've got on here, I've got the Founders series. It looks great, as well as with the appendix carry holster that goes with it. Just terrific. You know, and the belt, that's something that people don't think about. You know, the belt's so important because it's, you know, you can put a gun in your holster, your holster in your waistband, but if you don't have something sturdy there to hold it, anytime you start moving, then next thing you know, from the guy that's sitting there looking for somebody to see if they're carrying concealed, I'm watching you sitting there fiddling with where the gun's at and the holster's at. And every time you go to touch that, I mean, it's not a natural movement, you're adjusting it. Well, you got to have that belt that goes with that holster.
Right, and that was why we started doing belts. We just kept getting the question of, where do I find a good gun belt? A lot of people buy cheap belts or belts that break down, they replace them every 2 to 3 months. They just don't make a lot of really good, the belts that do that. And that jumps a lot into the carry position, one of the 3 topics you're talking about. Carry position, a lot has to do with the belt, especially you get into the single clip models like the appendix you're wearing. A single clip model, you have all that pressure on one point on your belt. If you have a really soft or weak belt, it's just not going to support you.
You know, I think we're getting some comments. Let's check that out.
All right, so one of the questions, it is from Jessica from West Palm Beach. What's the best material for inside the waist carry? That a lot depends on you. So, and where you're at and the feel you like. Even here at the shop, we have people that really prefer horsehide and people that really prefer cowhide. I really like the feel of cowhide. I like the softer, almost velvety feel of the back of cowhide. It forms really well and it starts off softer. Coming from law enforcement, I don't enjoy breaking in holsters. I want it to be comfortable right from the beginning.
That is true.
So, and then with our new Founders leather, that breaks in really, really fast. It gets really soft, really quick, and it forms within a few hours of your body. So that's what I like. The horsehide is great if you tend to sweat a lot. If you like a smooth, slicker feel on the back, it's what they call a pasted back material.
Right.
So it is very smooth on the back, and a lot of people like that feel because it doesn't have the texture to it like the cowhide does.
Yeah, and you know, personal preference is one of those things that's so important, but having that good product to help support what your personal preference is kind of where it's at.
All right, and then one of the other things there's a huge concealed carry thing that gets brought up all the time is people call or they show up to shows and they want to talk and they have the correct holster, they have the correct holster for their size, but they want to know, how can I conceal in my tube top and my yoga pants? And you got to bring up the topic of, you have to dress for concealed carry. And you can't make concealed carry work for your dress.
Right, you do. And you know, there's so many options out there, and you know, you don't have to be wearing baggy clothes for it. You know, which all plays into the first size. You know, I mean, I've got a t-shirt on. What you're looking for is trying to keep the imprinting of the holster or of the magazine or the pistol grip. That's kind of just something to keep that from appearing as you're walking down the street, because it's not just as I'm standing here, it's also if I'm lifting my arms up or moving around. That's going to be a big factor and take into consideration, because you know, you're not just always standing still when you're
your everyday
carrying.
Active movement, sitting in the car, bending over at the bank, all those things all really come into play.
You know, and that same thing you kind of mentioned, that is like for me when I was overseas a lot, one of the big things for me and why I like appendix carry is in a car. You know, I've seen small of the back. I don't know how many TV shows have that, and you know, the cops look cool doing that. But how are you going to get to that gun if you're driving in a car and somebody's carjacking you, or somebody, that threat comes from outside that vehicle? I need something where I can get to it real quick. And you know, with this right here, all I can do is come into here. I've got it, and I'm ready to put it into action if needed.
And on your overseas stuff, so the next question is Derek from Idaho. He wants to know, how many years do you spend contracting or law enforcement or Marines?
You know, Derek, I spent 12 years in the Marine Corps, and that was from 84 to 96. I got out, was in law enforcement for about 6 years. I was chief of police for about 3 years. Me and city council kind of had a disagreement on exactly how to enforce the law. I figured everybody's equal and we kind of do it that way. They wanted me to pick and choose. But from there I started contracting, and that was in 2004. I started over in Iraq until 2012 when I got injured.
And that's an awesome amount of service. And of course you have some of the injuries that go along with doing that. And we thank you very much for that.
I appreciate
that's awesome.
I appreciate it.
Jan from Mesa, Arizona, thank you for your bravery and service. With the CrossBreed holsters, how many clips would you carry every day? And I'm assuming you mean how many magazines, gun mags you carry every day. And that's just a common, that all depends on the situation you're going in. We give people that actually ask that a lot. We have people that call and want to order the dual mag carry, and it's never bad to have a spare. If you start thinking you need 3, 4, or 5 spare mags, really consider where you're going into and why you're going there, that you need that much ammo. But gun malfunctions happen. If you have to drop a mag, if there's a mag malfunction, mags malfunction all the time.
Well, and you know, and I think it's really important that you need that extra one. I mean, and depending on what you're carrying, I mean, I carry the 42. I've got 6 rounds in it. I've got another one I can put in the chamber. So, you know, I got 5 in the mag, another one I can put in the chamber. That's going to give me enough initially. I've got 2 more because they're not double stacked, usually on my person, and that gives me plenty. But really what my main gun is it's for defensive position. I mean, it's to defend myself. And should I need more than that, then like you said, you better be careful of where you're going and rethink that. And I can always use my initial weapon to fight to get to my secondary or the tertiary that may be in the car.
And with all the gun vaults and everything that's coming out now, and the correct ways to actually conceal in your vehicle, that's an option. You can always have your extras in your car and just fight your way back to your other stuff.
Yep.
So Brad from Kent, how accurate is the movie 13 Hours?
You know, it's one of those things when we wrote the book. I mean, the book, 400 pages, you can really get into the details, and you're trying to take that and put it into a 2-hour movie. And that's one of the things that we get asked a lot. And, you know, kind of the story behind that is we first met with Michael Bay, and one of the things that really concerned me is when you sign your life rights away, they can depict you however they want. And that's just part of the process, because they're not going to spend the money to make a movie without having that ability to do it in a theatrical way to make money. But I sat down with Michael Bay, we talked with him, and you know, my thing to him was, I don't care what you do with me, but if you do anything that disrespects Tyre Glenn, basically I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. And he said, you don't have to worry about that. And I told him I wasn't.
That's awesome.
So,
all right, Rick is wanting to know how a super tuck is tucked in with a shirt. Because we're mic'd up and we have stuff in, I will do that on the next episode we do. I'll make sure and we'll follow up on that. I'll tuck a shirt and do it, but unrobing right here is probably not the best thing to do, to tuck a super tuck
well,
in.
and you know, and one thing we can show you real quick on that, like on this one right here, you know, you've got the gaps right here in between the clips and the leather is going to be against your skin. You can bring your shirt down and it'll tuck in between here and cover the weapon, and then the rest of it can tuck in under there. And then when you're getting ready to draw, I mean, one of your techniques is just going to be making sure you grab as much clothing as possible and you're pulling it up to get to that weapon, so you clear that material out of the way.
And on the holster you're wearing, so he has the exact same kind of clip on the holster that the super tuck does. So his clip's right there. He could just tuck his shirt in behind it and it's going to tuck around essentially the same way. The biggest thing on wearing a super tuck and getting it so that it isn't imprinting when you're wearing it, the shirt if you're wearing very tailored shirts, it's going to be hard to conceal anything. With the position you put it on your body, yesterday at the range, you were wearing, you know, right here about 3 o'clock, maybe a little forward. That's where I would like to wear a lot. That has a lot to do with your pistol grip. People with a really narrow torso that are thinner, they tend to have to put it back around behind to get that pistol grip to lay back up against their waistline, so that when they put their legs exposed, especially when tucking their shirt over it.
What are you trying to say, that I'm a little thick through the middle?
We both kind of have that. We like table. All right, so we're going to take a look at yesterday, some of the range time that we were spending out there with shooting. You got to shoot one of the targets that I'm not sure you'd got to see before, and it's quite interesting. I don't know if that's on one of the clips, but we had a fun time at the range yesterday.
And
All right, so you got to see the hot Missouri weather out shooting at the range. Sweating, but it's awesome anytime you go out to the range. Right now, we want to see, one of the comments is wanted to know how you draw correctly from a concealed carry holster. So that's one of those things, while people are putting more comments and questions in, if you could demonstrate, you're using a blue gun, so it's a dead gun, dead wall, if you just want to demonstrate how you would properly draw from your holster.
well, you know, and the biggest thing is getting the material that you have out of the way. Whatever's covering it, whether it be a coat, if I have a coat on, you know, a lot of people like to throw the coat back, but I use all of my arm to do that with concealed like this. My first thing is just coming to here and grabbing material. I'm going to grab as much and just get it up out of the way. And this hand at the same time is coming down, and then from there the draw is just up, straight out, and then engage your target. Coming out, finger on the trigger, sights on target, and then your reverse, same thing, come down, and it's right here. The nice thing is I don't have to look down to find that. I index it with my finger, I come back, I know right where it's at, and then I can just come back in, and you're back holstered and safe.
And that brings up one of the topics that when we have people call and ask what is one of the most important things on a concealed carry on picking a holster, no matter what kind of holster you carry, is being able to reholster.
Right.
We reholster reluctantly, we reholster slow. There's no reason to be in a hurry. But if you can't reholster, you need to change the type of carry that you do, because you need to reholster. Whether it's the incident de-escalated and you put your gun back in and you left, or law enforcement is showing up and you've discharged your weapon, you need to not have your pistol in your hand when whoever is showing up is showing up.
Yeah, you know, and you want to be able to keep your eyes up when you're doing it. You want to try to practice that muscle memory and get it down to where when you're doing it, you can do it without having to look, because you still want to scan for threats. Whether the initial threat was taken out, you know law enforcement or somebody's going to be coming up, and you want to make sure that you still get your weapon back where it's safe, but then you still have access to it in case another threat does arise.
All right, Brian who wants to know who played Oz in the movie.
The actor that played me was Max Martini. You might know him if you've ever watched the TV series The Unit. He also played the SEAL commander in, shoot, now I can't even remember the name of that. What the heck was it? Captain Phillips. That was the movie. He played the SEAL commander in Captain Phillips. And, you know, he did a great job. And it was really kind of interesting because, you know, I have a deep respect for what they do now. Because, I mean, I thought, you know, it's acting. I mean, how hard's that, right? And when he got assigned the part, first thing he did is he got a hold of me. We got to be friends. We talked a lot on the phone because he would ask me about growing up, my childhood, everything. And, you know, to me, it's like, well, why are you asking about that? I mean, that has nothing to do with the movie. And what he wanted to do is get to know me as a person. So when he's acting, he's doing those mannerisms. And, you know, he did a fabulous job. I mean, all the actors did. I mean, Tonto's actor, I mean, he got Tonto to a T. Same with Tig, that kind of dry humor he has, but he's always there for you. He's got your six, and, you know, as well with me and the other guys. It was pretty phenomenal to get to know them and what they put into their profession.
That's awesome. So we've had some questions about where you can find CrossBreed holsters. If you'll look below, you will see our dealer locator. You also see the holster finder and our product discount. The product discount that we are offering for this this viewing of this show is 911OZ. So it's the number 911 and then OZ for Oz. Yep. So if you want to see that, that's a 15% discount for being here on the show. But all the other stuff is listed below if you want to see, because people are wondering where you can. If you want to actually see a CrossBreed holster, you want to pick one up, feel one. People like to see them, feel them before they buy them. You know, not the online stuff. Our dealer locator's there. You can go to a dealer, you can pick it up. We have hundreds of dealers across the country. I'm pretty sure we have one in every single state. So we got a question with the whole Oz thing. You have Oz on your buckle.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're working on right now. That there's a laser machine that we put it on with here in the shop. So that's something we're working on, that we can offer the Oz buckle and the Oz belt for you. Yeah,
thank you very much, and for just, you know, honoring me in 13 hours for that, because, you know, it's to me, the whole movie and all of that stuff is just a side effect of what we did in serving this country. And, you know, there's a lot of other people out there doing things that they didn't get recognized for. And to me, 13 hours, the movie, the book, and all of this is also a representative of all the guys that are heroes out there, both law enforcement and military, just trying to help out and make this country great.
And that's awesome. And we really appreciate it. It's really cool to be able to do the custom stuff. We like doing the custom, you know, and we make everything here in-house. So yesterday when we wanted to do a buckle, we lasered a buckle, made a belt. You know, it was easy to go. It was all done by the time we went to the range. So in wrapping up, I'm not seeing any more questions or comments. Let me see. Yeah. So right now, can we just get apparently we're having a technical difficulty on our tablet. Is there a question or a comment that we
There we go.
Oh, here we go. Oh, that's one we've already done. All right. Oh, do you have any part in the movie? And we've discussed this. So that question comes from Elliot from Nashville.
You know, that was one of the big things, because we told Michael Bay, hey, give us a part in the movie. I mean, I want a cameo. It's the only time I'm ever going to get, this ugly mug on TV. I mean, what the heck? But he didn't want to do that. And so in doing that, though, I mean, I'm kind of got that, I refuse to lose kind of mentality. So we decided with me and Max that we were going to play a trick on Michael Bay. And the scene was going into the consulate. And Tyrone's character was up front. Tonto's character was up front in the passenger. John Krasinski, who plays Jack, was in the back, and Max was in the back driver's seat. Well, I was hidden across the street. I had the same clothes from wardrobe that Max was wearing, and Michael's sitting there giving directions, and then as he walks away, we split out, and we switch from who's sitting down. And so I go in and I sit down, and I'm just kind of acting like I'm off looking in the distance, and Michael still doesn't know. And out of the blue, the scenario goes, Tyrone was asking, hey, I'll bet these guys don't get paid anything. And Tonto says, yeah, I'll bet they got to buy their own bullets. Well, and there's a camera coming through right across from Krasinski and one right on the hood. And so I'm just kind of sitting there pulling security. And John Krasinski, he looks over and says, Oz, what do you think about that? So I just kind of leaned forward, looked right at the camera and said, I don't give a heck. Well, I probably said something different than that. But and Michael Bay didn't realize it until at that time. And I mean, he just blew up. And at first he thought he was going to be pissed, and everybody started laughing. And but I still wouldn't put it in the movie. I had to argue and fight with him over that. That's the one fight he did win.
But you don't want to be a professional actor? You didn't jump into...
No.
All right, Tina from Atlanta. What is the first thing I should look for in a holster? And we kind of segued it earlier about once you select your gun, once you select how you want to carry, what you want to carry, the position you're going in. Holster-wise, a lot's going to do what position you want to carry on your waist. Are you going to do appendix? Are you going to do cross draw? Do you wear a belt all the time? If you don't wear a belt, you're looking at belly band options. You have the ankle rig stuff. That's most people wear it as a backup, not as a primary. But a lot of that matters. Where you want to carry on your waist has a lot to do with the kind of holster.
Well, and the other thing you want to look for in a holster is something that's what's its purpose? It's to be able to give you a weapon and carry a weapon in a secure way and have it easily accessible. So that's the first thing, and that's one of the things, when you go to anything on your waist, it's right there. And going back to CrossBreed, that's the thing I like about it so much. You've got the Kydex, it's form-fitted, watching the guys in the back putting these things together. each one of them has a guy's hands on it from almost start to finish. He's sitting there and making sure it fits exactly to that weapon that you're wanting. It's going to work when it gets there. And then the leather. Again, like we talked about earlier, the leather is something that's going to hold it to your body, conform to your body, and give you that ability to carry it in a secure way. And that's, to me, making sure it's secure is the most important thing.
Absolutely. That you can do your daily functions and your weapon not fall or not show.
Right.
And the next question, Joe from Joplin. What holster are you wearing today? Oz has on our appendix holster in the Founder's leather. Right now, I don't have one on. I'm actually testing one of our new holsters for our light bearing system stuff. We launched that at NRA and showed everybody. So I'm actually working on that. So the holster that I wear every day isn't one that we actually have out yet. So I'm wearing that. Usually I wear a Freedom Carry. I really, really like the Freedom Carry holster. Or sometimes I'll jump to a Mini Tech if I'm doing an XDS, or the appendix. I tend to do a lot of upfront carry, but it depends on what clothing I wear.
Yeah, exactly.
Thomas Brennan from North Carolina. Thank you for your service. What is the best material for hot weather wear?
Thank you for joining us and asking the questions. What's the best material for hot weather wear? What we have here and what CrossBreed does is it's the horse leather. It's made for that hotter weather. It doesn't react the same as cowhide does to someone who sweats a lot, if you perspire a lot. And it's great. But again, it's going to keep it there. And I go back to the same thing. Sometimes if you're going to carry something, it may not be the perfect, you may have to put up with a little bit of uncomfortableness if you're going to carry concealed. That's just life. And if you want to have a weapon, you have to. But getting the best thing, like what CrossBreed does, is, there's not too many people out there that take the material, the leather, and have one specific for that kind of hotter weather, that perspiration and stuff.
Right, a lot gets into the synthetics. And the horse, the reason it's different, and we have the information on the website, but a lot of people just don't dig that deep into it. The horse and cow grain of the leather is totally different. A horse grain, like if you ever cut it with a knife, it is very tight grain leather. It's not that it's waterproof, it just holds up to water better.
Right.
So moisture, perspiration, whatever it is, the leather keeps its
Doesn't get as
stiffness and
spongy.
feel, right? Yeah, where cow, when it gets soft, anybody that's ever wore a leather pair of boots, when they get them wet, they get really, really soft and really mushy. Horse doesn't do that.
Right.
It keeps that really firm feel. So for those kind of people, that's great. And the people that break in their horsehide holster and they get that form-fit feel on their body, you couldn't talk them out of the holster for anything.
Right.
And that's one of the big things with the horsehide is once it fits, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
Chris Shadowins from Fort Worth. How often will you be reviewing products? We're going to try to do one of these live videos once a week on the reviewing products. If there's something you want us to review, whether it's our product, whether it's something else in the industry with a firearm, we've done some firearm stuff. Send us a message, send us an email, do it on the chat here. We can do lots of reviews, especially of our products. We can do those as often as we want to. Demonstrate, like we'll do a tucked in one next week where I'll show how to tuck one in properly and have the right clothing on for that.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really simple one. Robert from Texas. I salute you for your service. What is the difference between cowhide and horsehide, and what is the pro and con of each?
Well, I think you kind of, thanks for the question. I think we kind of answered that just a bit ago. Again, it's the density of the leather. It's the ability of each one to be able to hold up to perspiration and moisture. And that's the biggest part of that. Thank you.
And Paul from Alabama, why don't you just use horsehide for all of your holsters? Because there are people that prefer the cowhide. I prefer wearing cowhide. I like the way it feels. I like the way it gets soft. So that's the big difference. Horsehide is a preference thing, and is cowhide. So it's something we want everybody to have the option to be able to do it. They just don't feel the same.
Right.
Philip from North Carolina, do you carry the combat cut? This segues exactly what you were talking about all ago on. You might have to put up with a little bit of discomfort when carrying. So a non-combat cut holster has more leather up top. So the leather keeps almost all the pistol off of your skin, and in some cases all the pistol off your skin. So you're not gonna have any gun touching you. You give up a little bit of being able to get a full grip on your pistol as easily. So you either have the option of not being able to get that full grip as fast, or you have it combat cut and then you can get a full grip. And it's all in how you train. There's guys that train that do the rate standard ones just fine. Some guys, like I prefer the combat cut. I'm willing to put up with that.
Well, and that's exactly it. I mean, with any holster, it goes back to is how much you're going to train with it. And that's the most important thing. I mean, you got to know your equipment and be comfortable with it. And that equipment, no matter what it is, it's going to take time. It's dry firing. It's sitting in the room or sitting in the garage, making sure your weapon's clear, safe, no ammo around it, and then sitting there dry firing and going through the motions. I mean, it's that muscle memory, building it, how you're going to get to it.
All right, so we got Paul from Alabama. I love your Ojai holster. It's so versatile. He also uses a belly band, and I use it on my car's firewall, under, behind the table, several other places where I attach the Velcro. So our Ojai holster is a cut of leather that's about this large that has Velcro on the back. And it was designed to be able to stick anywhere you need Velcro. And we also offer just the pieces of the other side of Velcro.
Right.
So you can stick an Ojai anywhere you want. The belly band comes with a modular holster, so that's another, you can take that holster off and put it anywhere you want. It's very, very versatile. For the women, the belly band, we offer a purse defender system, a pack mat system. So it's something you can put a Velcro-based holster anywhere under your desk, as you talked about earlier in your car. For those people that do want to carry the 3 to 5 o'clock position, it would probably be a really good idea to put a Velcro holster in your car. That way at least you can get to your gun inside your car.
Well, and and the other thing, I mean, especially with women, I mean, having that ability to carry it right in your purse. Because a lot of you're going to take it and throw it in a purse. Well, now get to it. How do you get to it? And where is it at with whatever else you're carrying in there? I mean, that's the important thing. Again, like having that ability to put it in a position where you can get to it when you need it.
Right, especially in the purse thing. If you can't put your hand in and immediately put your hand on the grip of your pistol, now you're going to be fumbling around for it. So that's how you need it set up. And not have anything obscuring that. And also that nothing can get in your trigger guard. That's a big thing. A lot of women, they just put their gun in their purse and they say it has a safety. That's just not a good idea, because safeties can get clicked off to bounce around in there and you can get something in your trigger guard. Tony from Portland, what new product this year? Well, we redesigned the LDS, and then we came out with the Founders stuff early in the year. We are also working on another line of product that we're going to release in several weeks to a month, but we have not launched that yet.
Okay.
So that's something, just keep watching. We'll do these. You will see what we're going to do. It's something totally out of our wheelhouse that we normally do, so it's awesome. It ought to be really, really cool, along with all the lines of other things we're doing.
I couldn't even get them to share that with me. I'm here.
Area from Asheville. When and how did CrossBreed start? Okay, so CrossBreed, we've been doing this for 12 years. Our founder, Mark Craighead, which is the one that this signature right here is from. Mark started in his garage, in his house. Carol, his wife, who is the president of our company now, she actually would heat up the Kydex for him in the oven and make the house stink. And we've heard those stories, and it's awesome that it started as a little garage business, selling holsters just to make some money because there was a need. There wasn't a product. There wasn't hybrid holsters back then.
Well, you know, and I mean, we were talking, me and Carol, earlier, and you know, it's the American dream. I mean, somebody saw something that they wanted, you couldn't find it on the market, and what do? You solve the problem. That's what we do here in America. And I mean, that's the thing that's so wonderful about this country is if there's something that you want for yourself, you can, in this country, go figure it out and make a business. I mean, her and her husband did that, and that's what brought about CrossBreed. It is awesome. And
having the passion for it. I met Mark when he was doing it in his garage, and the passion for doing what you love, it makes people want to be with you and buy your product and buy more product. And we have that grassroots, that 12-year people that's all they buy is CrossBreed. It's awesome. It's amazing to work for a company like that. Mackenzie from Miami. What is the pricing today? So today we are offering the 15% discount on the website. Right. So the discount code is listed below. You can use that, and it's just 15% off on the website. DF from PA, is CrossBreed Live going to be regular? Yes. This will be at least once a week. We're hoping for once a week. Sometimes there might be twice a week, depending on how much content we have. We'll try to get as much as we can out. Anything you want to see, please comment, send us email. All the questions that we don't get to today, we're going to answer. We're going to email you, and we'll write them down and try to bring them up more and more on the live segments. We want to cover as much content because there's a lot of questions and a lot of people are afraid to ask some of the questions, and we see that at shows where they don't know how to ask the question because they feel embarrassed, or that, oh, my husband tells me this or my wife tells me this. Just ask, and nobody's going to yell. We would rather you be concealed comfortably, right, and carry than to not. We'd rather have you have the gun on you than to leave it at home because you don't feel comfortable. Well, and remember, I mean, you guys are going to generate the interest in having brand live events with CrossBreed, and the more information we get from you on what your desires are, we can they're going to be able to tailor that and be able to answer those questions, like I said, and increase those brand live events like this, because this is just a great way to get out to the people and keep that interaction with you so you can be a part of this company in that sense. And we thank you so much for coming and being with us. And any questions you have for Oz, please send those comments. He will get those as well. Thank you so much again, and we enjoyed having you. We had a great dinner last night, had a great time at the range, and we hope to have you back very soon. Thank you very much. I mean, it's just an honor to be here with a company like this, and I just can't say enough about what you guys do. Thank you for everything you do for those people out there serving. Thank you, and thank you for your service. Yep, God bless. Catch us next time on CrossBreed Live.